It can be so tempting to start your seeds as soon as the days are getting longer and warmer. Maybe you've reached your last frost date. And in my case, I saw a lot of my gardening friends on Instagram starting their tomato seeds in like January or February. Now, there are some seeds that you probably do want to start even before your last frost date indoors. That's fine. Or some things you want to sow during colder periods of weather. But specifically for things like tomatoes, you really want to start them at the right time for your climate. And I have a lot of friends in way colder climates than me who were starting in January and February, and I kind of question why they started so early, but if it works for them, it works for them. But for me, I ended up feeling like I was behind, even though I knew better, and I've been gardening for a couple of years now. I knew better, but I decided to start my tomato seeds in the middle of February, and I shouldn't have, because I start all of my seeds hydroponically, like in units like this, and in hydroponics, things grow so quickly. So not only did I start my tomato seeds early, like even if I was sowing it in soil, the middle of February for me is still way too early. I could have started my seeds a month later and I would have been fine. So these are the tomato plants that I started towards the mid to end of February, and they're doing okay. They could be better, but they grew so fast, so I thought I'd start hardening them off to get ready for transplanting. And then we had a cold snap with lots of heavy rain, followed by a heat wave, and then cold and rain again. The weather here in California is kind of all over the place. So during those cold spells, I brought them inside, which stopped their hardening off process, but it was better for them to be inside than outside at that point. So I've had to restart the hardening off process, which was annoying. But let's take a little field trip over to the OG Cooksey Farms, aka my parents' house, and take a look. So my dad started these in the middle of March, and it is now the middle of April, and his look about the same size as mine, if not larger, but they look happier and healthier. And then here is another tomato plant that I started later, and it also looks bigger, stronger, and healthier than the ones that I started about a month before it. So yes, it can seem like you're behind when you see other people starting seeds, but maybe they live in a warmer climate than you, or maybe they're just rebellious and want to start earlier. But you really need to take note of the weather patterns in your area and determine if you need to start that early. For things like peppers, I actually started mine in December because peppers can take a long time to grow. And I have heard that the hotter a pepper is, the longer it can take to germinate and grow. Whether that's true or not, peppers can be quite slow, and I am glad that I started the peppers when I did, because in years past, I'd start them in March, and then they just never really got going, and I didn't really have many peppers to harvest. So starting them in December was a good idea for me, and in terms of pepper plants, I do have my dad beat in terms of growth. But again, just get in tune with the weather patterns in your area and take notes each year. Write down when you started seeds, when they germinated, and when you transplanted them. Our weather, even from year to year, can be different, but it still helps to have a guide for your plants in your own climate to keep being successful from year to year.